Ever find yourself wondering, is she into me or am I completely misreading this? Here's the deal. Most guys spend way too much time second guessing. But what if I told you her hands could reveal all the answers you've been looking for? Yep, that's right. Those small, subtle movements can speak louder than words. Today, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We're diving into 10 hand signals that show she's interested, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to look for, without having to overthink a thing. Let's get started. 1. Constantly touching her own hands or hair. Let's kick this off with one of the most common but overlooked signs, fidgeting. If she's repeatedly touching her fingers, playing with her rings, or twirling her hair, it's a sign that you're making her a little nervous, but in a good way. Why? Because when a woman is attracted, she often channels her excitement or anxiety through her hands. It's her body's way of managing that extra energy. Think about it. If you've ever had a crush, you know that jittery feeling you get when they're around. Maybe your leg starts bouncing, or you suddenly find yourself messing with your phone case for no reason. Well, it's the same with her. So if she's playing with her hair or fiddling with her jewelry, she's probably a little more interested in the conversation and in you than she's letting on. 2. Mirroring your gestures. All right, here's where things get interesting. Mirroring is one of the most powerful subconscious cues in human behavior. If you notice her copying your hand movements, like reaching for her glass right after you do, or adjusting her posture to match yours, congratulations, you're in sync. This is called subconscious synchrony, and it's a way humans build rapport without even realizing it. It's her body's way of saying, I'm on the same page as you. Picture this, you're talking, and every time you gesture, she does something similar. You raise your hand to scratch your chin, and a second later, she adjusts her hair. It's not a coincidence, it's connection. Women don't mirror guys they aren't comfortable with. So next time you're hanging out and you notice this happening, take a mental note. It's a solid green light. 3. Lightly touching you casually. Here's the thing most guys miss. Casual touches are never as casual as they seem. Women often use physical touch as a subtle way of testing the waters. A brush of the arm, a tap on the shoulder, or even just a playful nudge can all signal one thing. She's trying to get closer, literally. If she's finding reasons to touch you, even in seemingly innocent ways, it's because she wants to create a connection. And here's the kicker. The more frequent these innocent touches, the more interested she likely is. Women aren't in the habit of touching guys they don't feel comfortable around. So if she's reaching out, even if it's under the guise of brushing lint off your shirt, it's a sign she's into you. Remember, these touches may feel casual, but trust me, they're anything but random. 4. Open palms facing you. Ever heard the expression open hands, open heart? It's not just a cute saying, it's rooted in psychology. When someone is genuinely open and interested, they show it with their body language, and hands are a big part of that. If she's sitting with her hands relaxed, palms open and facing you, it's a signal of comfort and trust. Think of it this way. When people are closed off, they cross their arms, hide their hands, or clench them into fists. When they're open to someone, their body language reflects it. So if she's gesturing with open palms or placing her hands where you can see them, she's signaling, I'm comfortable around you. This might seem small, but it's a huge green flag in terms of attraction. 5. Playing with objects like a glass or napkin. Now, here's one that's a bit more subtle. If she's playing with a glass, a napkin, or even twisting a straw between her fingers, she's probably not just bored. In fact, this kind of fidgeting often happens when she's nervous or excited, again, in a good way. When someone's into you, their mind races, and their hands look for something to do to channel that energy. Ever notice how she might twirl the stem of her wine glass or start folding a napkin over and over while you're chatting? That's her brain working overtime. She's processing the interaction and quite possibly thinking about how much she likes being there with you. So don't be fooled by the absent-minded fiddling. It's a sign that you're on her mind more than you think. 6. Gesturing towards you with both hands. This one's all about direction. When she talks, are her hands gesturing towards you, or are they pointing away, like she's mentally checked out? If her hands are moving in your direction, she's pulling you into her orbit, literally and figuratively. Let's say you're at a cafe having a conversation, and she's using both hands to explain something. If those hands are constantly directed toward you, that's a clear sign she's engaged and wants you in the conversation, not just as a listener, but as a participant. It's her way of saying, I want you closer. So next time she's talking, take note of where those hands are pointing. Chances are, if it's towards you, it's because she wants more of you. 7. Touching her neck or collarbone. Now, we're getting into some subtle but very telling territory. When a woman touches her neck or collarbone while talking to you, it's often a sign of vulnerability. The neck is a very delicate part of the body, and exposing it, either by touching it or leaving it uncovered, can be a subconscious gesture of trust. Here's the psychology behind it. Touching the neck can be a self-soothing gesture, which means she might be feeling a little nervous or excited around you, but nervous in a good way, like the kind of butterflies you get when you're around someone you really like. This is a classic sign of attraction. If her hand frequently drifts to her neck or she's tracing her collarbone, you've got a strong indication that she's feeling a spark between you two. 8. Resting her hand close to yours. Here's one that can be a bit sneaky but super effective if you catch it. When she rests her hand near yours, whether it's on the table at dinner, on the armrest at the movies, or even on the bar counter, it's a silent invitation. She's comfortable being close to you, and she's curious if you'll close that little gap between you. Think of it as her way of testing the waters without making a huge move. Picture this. You're sitting across from each other, and she casually places her hand near yours. Her fingers are resting, maybe splayed out just enough to signal, "I'm open to this." This move is all about subtlety. She's not going to reach over and grab your hand. That would be too bold. Instead, she's giving you a soft nudge to see if you'll take the next step. 9. Clumsy hands around you. We've all been there. When you're around someone you really like, suddenly you become a little less coordinated. Maybe you trip over your words or drop your phone. Well, guess what? She's not immune to this either. If she's a little more clumsy when she's around you, maybe she knocks her drink over or fumbles with her purse, it's likely because you're making her nervous in the best way possible. This kind of clumsiness happens when we're distracted by our attraction to someone. So the next time she drops her keys or accidentally bumps into you, don't be so quick to write it off as nothing. It's her body reacting to the excitement and tension of being close to you. And if she laughs it off afterward, even better, it's her way of turning that little moment of clumsiness into something cute and playful. 10. Lingering handshakes or high fives. Okay, this one might seem obvious, but it's still important. When a woman holds onto your hand just a little bit longer than necessary, whether it's during a handshake, a high five, or even a playful touch, that extra second or two says a lot. It's not just about keeping contact, it's about savoring the connection. Imagine this scenario. You meet up, and she greets you with a handshake or a playful high five. But instead of immediately pulling away, she lets her hand linger for just a beat longer. That lingering touch, it's her way of keeping the physical connection going, even if she's not quite ready to take things to the next level. It's subtle, sure, but it's a powerful indication that she's into you and wants more of those little moments. Here's a bonus tip for sticking around. You know when you hand someone something and your fingertips brush against theirs? That's not always an accident. If she lets that contact linger just a little longer, she's using that moment to create a connection. Pay attention to those little moments. They're packed with meaning. If she's into you, she won't shy away from these micro touches. Now that you know how her hands might be showing her interest, you're already one step ahead of the game. But if you really want to level up, there's one more signal you definitely don't want to miss: her eyes. In the next video, I'll be diving into what her eyes say when she's flirting. From subtle glances to pupil dilation, I'll break down exactly what to look for, because when a woman's eyes are doing the talking, it's hard to miss. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it when it drops. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.